What's going on YouTube? Moto here, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not you should do your 600-mile service by yourself or you should get it done at a dealership. So let's get to it. I didn't start my bike. Alright, so right off the bat, there are two trains of thoughts when it comes to doing your 600-mile service. One is if you should do it yourself, and two is if you should do it at a dealership. So, let's start with by yourself first. Honestly, when it comes to looking at forums online or YouTube videos or anything about the first service of your motorcycle, most people are going to tell you that you should do the first service by yourself. And now the reason being is, one, because the dealership, they kind of charge a lot of money for your first service. So, for example, I got my first service done on this bike, and we'll talk about why in the second part of this video. But that service cost me $169. And honestly, when you think about what exactly the first service is, so the first service is oil change, filter change, clean and lube your chain, adjust the chain if it's needed, and then tighten all the bolts. And those 5 things, they don't really cost that much money. I mean, oil costs you like 15-20 bucks. Chain lube costs you like 10 bucks. A chain tool to clean your chain costs you like 10 bucks. And then overall, that's all you have to really do. And then I guess you need a set of tools, but that's it. And if you already have a set of tools, then you're golden. So it's not even that much money to really do this service. So another reason besides the fact of cost that you want to get your first service done by yourself is that with a dealership, you never know if the service is actually going to be done right. Now, I mean, a 600-mile service, it's a pretty easy service. However, you don't necessarily know that that service is done correctly. The dealership could just give you your bike back after like an hour and a half, and you would never even know if the service was done. So I guess that's another reason why a lot of people don't go with the first service at a dealership. I mean, as you probably have already known, a lot of people call dealerships dealerships, and that's probably one of the reasons why. So another thing with the dealerships when it comes to the first service is that your first service is supposed to take about an hour and a half. Now, every dealership's labor rates are different. The shop I went to, labor rate was at $108 an hour. So with being an hour and a half service, it came out to that $169. And I mean, the parts needed for the service only came out to $8. Let that sink in for a second. $8 in parts. And then, what are you doing? $8 in parts. Okay. Now, what are you doing? My God, dude. Thank God. Let's sink in for a second. $8 in parts for the service, and then $160 for labor. That's just ridiculous. I can fully understand why people say don't do your service at a dealership, because I mean, look at that rate is just ridiculous when you could do the entire thing in maybe 2 hours for the entire service, 2 to 3 hours, especially if you're just beginning in this type of thing. Get the entire service done in like 2 to 3 hours, and it costs you $45. And if you need like a set of tools, most it's like 90 bucks, and then you have the set of tools for the rest of your life to do the services. So now we talked about why you should do your service yourself. Let's talk about why you should get it done at a dealership. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video, I got the 600-mile service done on this bike at a dealership, and I've actually gotten the 600-mile service done on all my bikes at a dealership. Now the reason why I did that is for a couple different reasons. One, I like to get my first service done at a dealership because with the 2 bikes before this one, I bought those bikes used. Now both of those bikes when I bought them had less than 600 miles, and as if you know, the 600-mile service is the basically biggest service for your bike, and that 600-mile period for your bike's engine is by far the most important for the life of your engine. So with buying those bikes used, you never know how the previous owner treated the bike's engine. You don't know if they've been redlining every day. I mean, my second bike was an FZ09. You don't know if that bike was just wheelied from day one. So I like to get the service done at the dealership so they can let me know that if they find like a lot of metal shavings in the oil, which also could lead to bigger problems, and they can check those out for me. And then 2, I like to get it done at the dealership because oftentimes If you need help eventually with your bike, with the bigger services, I like to get to know exactly how my dealership is going to basically treat my bike, how long it's going to take, if they're going to try to upcharge me for the service. I mean, $169 for a service isn't that bad. I've actually had certain services for the 600 come over $200, which is just ridiculous to me. So for this dealership, I find that I actually like the price that they quoted me. Jesus, the wind is blowing me right now. And I don't have really a problem with that. So when it comes to possibly in the future needing a big service like the valves done, which something that I could do myself again, but with never having done valves on a bike, it would definitely be something that I would want to get done at a dealership for the first time. And knowing that they are a trustworthy dealership and they didn't fuck up my bike, it's definitely a good feeling in the long run. Another reason to get your service done, and this one's a more obvious reason, is if you bought your bike new. So if you bought your bike new, when you buy it, you should definitely try to negotiate in there to getting that first 600-mile service done for free, because a lot of times they'll often throw that in there for you just as like a courtesy, so that they know they will get your business in the future possibly. And then the final reason why I think you should get your first service done at a dealership is because maybe, and this one is just really specific to you personally, is maybe you don't have the tools to do it yourself. Not everybody has a garage or the tool set to do it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can get the tool set that you need from like Walmart or somewhere for like 50 bucks, and get you all the wrenches that you basically need to be able to do an oil change. But overall, maybe you don't have the space, maybe you don't have the time, and if that's exactly what it comes out to, then get that service done at a dealership. Because overall, regardless of whether or not you get the service done at a dealership or you do it yourself, that first service is going to be the most important service on your bike, and you got to remember that you definitely don't want to wait to get that service done. So really, ultimately, the decision lies with you in the end, whether or not you actually want to get your service done yourself or you want to do it at a dealership. But those are the reasons why I think either way you could go. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to see more videos in the future, and I've been R2R Moto. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.